Well, hands down, my favorite subject was science. I think that my decision to become an educator really was one that I made in college. I really wasn't thinking that when I got out of high school. I really wasn't thinking that I would be a teacher. I really didn't think I was capable of being a teacher, to be honest with you. I was kind of maybe a little above average student, but I wasn't like top of my class because I just, thought teachers were really smart. And so you obviously, I was thinking that you had to be really smart in content subjects. I didn't really know what it meant to be a teacher. I taught at St. Paul's, which is just around the corner here. It's in North Canton, but not a public school. I was there for 3 years and taught science, and then the rest of my teaching career has been here in North Canton, elementary at Northwood, and then coming up to the middle school and working here and predominantly teaching science all of that time. I really enjoy the process of science, of the creative thinking, the skills that it takes to be able to do that scientific process, to really kind of figure something out. And I think that skill is so important in life, whether you're doing science experiments or you're doing other things. So that process just really resonates with me. And so becoming a science teacher really allowed me to help to teach kids how to think and how to, not just learn a concept. I mean, the easiest part, I guess it's the same answer. The easiest part is the kids. Sometimes the hardest part is the kids, I mean, the easiest part is, you love every one of them. And I mean that sincerely. Any child who comes into your classroom, you bond with them, and, you may have to discipline them. You may have to, let them know that they've gone too far. But you truly, as an educator, you just truly care about those kids. Middle school is a time for most of us that we just endure because those adolescent years are just so confusing and so awkward. Everything about those adolescence years are awkward. I've made a change in my life that I want to contribute in a different way. I want to be able to work on projects that I wouldn't have time to do when I was teaching. So there's other things in education that can help kids. There's other things that can really have an impact on a school. And when you're teaching all day long and your time from 7 in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon is direct teaching with kids, and then from 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock at night you're grading papers and planning and all those things, that really consumes your professional time. You really don't have a lot of extra time to go out and be building programs and looking at how to shape things in terms of, in a bigger picture for education. I want to do this. I want to be able to contribute this way and, finish out my career this way. I think normally you probably wouldn't be in the same building, or in my case, even in the same grade level. So I still work with 8th graders. So I work with the teachers who I used to, sit in the classroom or, work with on teams. And I think in most cases, you probably wouldn't plan it that way, but just based upon how it all happened the year that I moved into this position, it made the most sense because I had a lot of background knowledge about 8th grade and transfers, going up to the high school, things like the Washington, D.C. trip. A lot of that stuff is just a lot of information you need to have. And so I knew a lot, and it helped to put me in this position. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see him in the lunchroom, Oh, yeah. Yeah, I miss that direct teaching time with kids, It's a privilege. It really is. Teaching kids is truly a privilege. Getting to share that piece of their life, that's the only way that you can look at that job. It truly is. And I help them in other ways, and I work with kids individually, and I work with groups of kids. Sometimes kids are planning projects and things like that, so I get involved with them in that way. If they're, wanting to do something special at school and they come to me and they have an idea, I still get to interact with them. But yeah, the day in, day out, yeah, I'll always miss that. I know I will. I missed it when I moved into industry, and I miss it now. I actually, I explained that I worked at St. Paul's and that I also worked in North Canton, but my total professional time in teaching is only about 16 years. So there's some missing years there. 14 years in between those two events. I actually worked in industry. I actually worked in the food industry, and specifically in working with meat. Went into that doing kind of an educational job. I was a trainer, and I ended up moving into operations management, so I became a plant manager. I worked as an administrator. And so those were the years when I was still, not too far out of college until I became a parent myself. So for about 14 years in there, while I was kind of working on my own career, I was working mostly in industry. So I had a lot of that background and experience as an administrator. When I had my own children and my kids were school age, so my kids got to 5, 6, 7 years old, I had to make a decision about how I wanted to be with my kids. And working in industry, for me, just had a lot of challenges in terms of being able to be home with my kids when they got home from school and being able to be really involved in their lives. So I decided to go back into teaching when my kids were school aged. The good thing about being a teacher is you're with kids all day, you're helping kids grow, it's a positive environment. When you work in an administrative role, you have to really be prepared for conflict. You're going to have a lot of conflict because you're going to be working on problems. And so there's just a lot more conflict in this job. I absolutely, like I said, I'm here by choice in terms of when I came here as an educator, as a teacher, I really came here because I wanted to work with this age group. So if you, I very much have a preference for working with middle school kids and working, with this adolescent age.